Katie No Pockets, story by Emma Payne and pictures by H.A. Ray, the same illustrator that illustrated the Curious George books, if it looks familiar to you. Big tears rolled down Katie Kangaroo's brown face. Poor Katie was crying because she didn't have a pocket like other mother kangaroos. Freddie was Katie Kangaroo's little boy, and he needed a pocket to ride in. All grown-up kangaroos take awfully big hops, and little kangaroos like Freddie get left far behind unless their mothers have nice pockets to carry them in. And poor Katie didn't have any pockets at all. Katie Kangaroo cried, thinking about it, and Freddie cried too. And all of a sudden, Katie had a wonderful idea. It was so wonderful she jumped 6 feet up in the air. The idea was this. Other animal mothers had children, and they didn't have any pockets. She'd go and ask one of them how they carried their babies. Freddie looked all around to see whom to ask, and Katie looked all around to see too. And what they both saw were 2 bubbles rising up from the river right beside them. "Mrs. Crocodile," said Katie, feeling lots better already. "She hasn't any pockets. Let's ask her." A lot of big muddy bubbles came up through the water, and then Mrs. Crocodile stuck her head up and opened her enormous mouth and smiled. "Why, Katie Kangaroo, what do I do for you today?" "Please, Mrs. Crocodile, I am so sad," said Katie. "I have no pocket, and Freddie has to walk wherever we go, and he gets so tired. Oh, dear, oh, dear." She started to cry again. The crocodile began to cry, too, and then she said, But what can I do?" "You can tell me how to carry Freddie," said Katie. "How do you carry little Catherine Crocodile?" "Oh, do please tell me." "Why, I carry her on my back," said Mrs. Crocodile. She was so surprised that anyone shouldn't know that she forgot to cry anymore. Katie was pleased. She said, "Thank you." And as soon as she got to a good squatting down place, she squatted and said, "Now, Freddie, climb on my back. After this, it will be so simple, no trouble at all." But it wasn't simple. In the first place, Freddie couldn't hang on because his front legs were too short. And when he did manage to hang on for a few minutes and Katie gave a big hop, he fell off. Bump, bang, with a terrific thump. So Katie saw that she could not carry her baby on her back. Katie and Freddie sat down again and thought, "I know, I'll ask Miss Monkey. I'm sure she can help me." So Katie and Freddie set off to the forest, and very soon they found Mrs. Monkey. She had her son Jocko with her, and Katie Kangaroo hurried so to catch up with them that she was almost out of breath. But finally she managed to squeak, "Please, Mrs. Monkey, how do you carry Jocko?" "Why, in my arms, of course," said Mrs. Monkey. "How else would any sensible animal carry anything?" And she whisked away through the trees. "Oh, dear," said Katie, and a great big tear ran across her long nose. "I can't carry anything in these short arms." Oh, dear, she wasn't any help at all. What are we going to do? And she just sat down and cried harder than ever. Poor Freddie, he hated to see his mother cry, so he put his paw to his head and he thought and thought and thought. "What about the lion?" he asked when Katie stopped crying a little. "They don't carry their children. The poor things walk just the way we do," said Katie. "Well, then there's the birds," said Freddie. "How do they carry their babies?" "Birds," said Katie. "Their mothers push their children out of the nest, and they squawk and shriek and flap their wings about." Then all at once Katie stopped crying, and she looked at Freddie. "They do say that the owl knows almost everything," she said slowly. "Well, then, for goodness sake, let's ask him," said Freddie. They found the owl asleep in the old dead tree. And he was cross because he didn't want to be waked up in the middle of the day. But when he saw that Katie was so sad, he came out, blinking and ruffling his feathers, and said in a scratchy voice, "Well, well, what is it? Speak up, and speak loudly. I'm deaf as a post." So Katie stood under the tree and screeched at him, "I'm a mother kangaroo, and I haven't a pocket to carry my child in. How shall I carry him? What shall I do?" "Get a pocket," said the owl, and went to sleep again. "Where?" said Katie. "Oh, please don't go to sleep before you tell me where." "How should I know?" said the owl. "They sell that sort of thing in the city, I believe. Now, kindly go away and let me sleep." "The city?" said Katie, and looked at Freddie with big round eyes. "Of course, we'll go to the city." Where there are stores and houses and automobiles. The people all stared and stared at Katy, but she didn't notice it. She was looking for pockets, and she saw that almost everybody had them. And then all at once she saw, she could hardly believe it, a man who seemed to have all pockets. He was simply covered with pockets. Big pockets, little pockets, medium-sized pockets. Katy went up to him and laid a paw on his arm. He was a little frightened, but Katy looked at him with her soft brown eyes and said, "Please, dear kind man, where did you get all those pockets?" "These pockets?" he said. "You want to know where I got these pockets? Why, they just came with the apron, of course." "You mean you can really get something to put on with all those pockets already in it?" said Katy. "Sure you can," said the man. "I keep my hammer and nails and tools in my pockets, but I can get another apron, so I'll give you mine." And he took off his apron and dumped it upside down, and out fell a saw, a wrench, nails, a hammer, a drill, and lots of other tools. And then the man shook the apron hard and turned it right side up again and hung it around Katy's neck and tied it behind her back. Katy was so pleased and excited and happy that she couldn't speak. She just stood still and looked down at the pockets and smiled and smiled and smiled. By this time the crowd had gathered to see what Katy Kangaroo was doing, and when they saw how pleased she was, they all smiled too. At last Katy was able to say thank you to the nice kind man, and then what do you think she did? She popped Freddie into a very comfortable pocket, and she hippity-hopped home faster than ever before, because of course she didn't have to wait on Freddie. And when she got home, what do you think she did? Well, she had so many pockets that she put Freddie into the biggest one, and then into the next largest she put Leonard the lion. Thomas Tortoise just fitted in another pocket, and sometimes she had a baby bird if its mother was busy at a worm hunt, and there was still room for a monkey, a skunk, a rabbit, a raccoon, a lizard, and a squirrel, and a possum, and a turtle, and a frog, and a snail. So now all the animals like Katy's pockets better than any other pockets in the whole forest, and Katy Kangaroo is very happy because now she has more pockets than any mother kangaroo in the world. The end.